You can never win the game of competition. And yet, there's one place in the Bible where we are called to compete with one another. We are called to outdo one another. In Romans chapter 12, verse 10, the Apostle Paul says that we are to outdo one another in showing honor. I had an experience just the other day where I had somebody that outdid me in showing honor. Somebody had reached out to me asking for a phone call. This was actually a speaking event that I'm set to do within the next couple months. And when I hopped on the phone with this person, I had the most eye-opening experience with them. It was just truly the kindest phone call that I had in the entire week. And so this person was sharing some not even difficult news, but something that might have been testy or something that might have, there was just, it was unwelcomed news. It's something that we hadn't planned on before when it comes to this speaking event. And as I was on the phone with her, she shared in her words, she's like, Bob, I know that this is bad news, but I didn't want to tell you via email because I wanted to hop on the phone with you so that you could hear my voice. I wanted you to hear the tone of my voice just to be sure that we're okay. And I felt so, in a word, honored in that moment. I felt so honored because could she have just sent me an email? Yes. It probably would have saved her some time. But what did she choose to do? She wanted to hop on the phone with me so that I could simply hear the tone of her voice. That was a moment of honor where she saw me as a brother in Christ and said, you know what? I'm going to go the extra mile for this person just to make sure that they're okay. And there are a number of different instances where we can do this in our own lives. It might be at work. It might be the person who's serving your meal. It might be, who knows, maybe you've gone on a date with somebody and you don't want to go on date number two. We've all been there. And yet, how are you going to outdo them in showing honor? As I was doing research for my book, I talked to dozens and dozens of single Christians sitting down for coffee and just hearing their experiences. One of the things that came up the most as far as a common frustration, people don't like being ghosted. And what is ghosting? It is the anti-honor. It is the opposite of outdoing someone in showing honor. You're saying, you know what? I don't really want to go on a second date with this person. I don't see a future with this person, which is okay. But what you're saying internally is, man, this conversation is going to be really uncomfortable. It would make me on a personal level uneasy. I'm just not going to have it. I'm not going to talk to them at all. Or I might send the courtesy text, hey, I don't think this is going to work. What would it look like to outdo someone in showing honor in that moment? It would probably look like picking up the phone, calling somebody. That would make you uncomfortable. And that's the point. It's not that we're seeking discomfort, but by you picking up the phone or by you talking to somebody in person, maybe you FaceTime them again so they can hear the tone of your voice. By going the extra mile and pushing through the discomfort, what you are saying to that person is, I care more about how you feel than how I feel. I care more about how this lands with you than how it affects me. That is exactly what Paul's talking about in Romans chapter 12. That is exactly what we saw exemplified in Jesus. Jesus came to earth to serve, not to be served, and to give his life as a ransom for many. That is the example where we are to outdo one another in showing honor. So, this week, look for one opportunity to outdo somebody in showing honor. It might be a friend, a family member, it might be a stranger, but outdo one another in showing honor. Hope you have a great week. See you here next time.